Welcome to Base Touring with Daisy. This is the Metro Plaza on Everlasting, and wow, what a visual treat this is. I'm going to show you around, and I encourage you to visit this extraordinary base on your own. Code GO-28888. But I'm also going to talk a bit about behind the scenes. What makes this base so amazing to me, other than the sheer beauty? Let's start out looking at what base builders start with on Homecoming. This is what you get when you create a supergroup, a 2x2 square entry room in the tech style. Now, you have a variety of choices when you decide to build a base. You can stay in the base and change the style of the walls to a few choices, such as arcane, sewer, dingy, tech, high-tech, and a couple of Asian-influenced choices. But the rooms will be overly large, the ceilings very high, and doorways wide, and really just darker areas of a room as they have no inherent lighting. You can create different levels in your base using materials that don't really match the inherent styles at all, so that's its own struggle. You can also plaster over the walls that come with the base and create something that's more cohesive, either as an entirely interior base or as an open sky base that has completely disguised walls. Or you can build above, below, or around the base. With that in mind, let's take a look at Metro Plaza. This is a transportation hub with all the services, complete with an immersive soundtrack loop from the tram in the game. You enter and are greeted with an expansive dome of glass with green arched windows lining the sides. The floor contains a decorative welcome inlay. Above that, a beautiful hanging clock, and just beyond, stairs rise to the train platforms. These are the teleporters to the various zones, alphabetized. I just want to take a moment to look at these trains. They are absolutely jaw-dropping in how realistic they look. They even have the accordion folds protecting the passage from car to car and a super cute logo. From the front you can see the driver's seat, plus the front of the train, tracks, lights, everything looks so good. Inside you see the teleporters, but the rest of the train also looks very much like a real-life train. Each train has a way through because you have to be able to get to the second train if your destination was in the second half of the alphabet. When you get on the other side of the second train, you can now see this beautiful arched window display with a white piano in the center. This is a glorious piano. For one with an unbelievably detailed inside, see one of Garbage Wizard's other bases, Station 18074 on Excelsior. Below this, to the left, you'll see some gorgeous created graffiti. We have graffiti in the editor now, but there is only one image in different sizes. This is entirely created with alphabet letters and supergroup emblems. A boombox and a cardboard area for breakdancers, yes, breakdancers, completes this fun addition. There's another Easter egg tribute to Easter Bunny, my former CR partner and partner in base shenanigans, nearby, but I'll let you find that yourself. A newsstand in the center of the area between the trains and the piano features some quartermasters, which are vendors. Now, as we turn around to face the front, we're going to see some of my favorite features in the base. For instance, this view. It's just so beautiful. To the left and right are various services. On the left, icon access in the clothing store. Below that, workbenches for creating enhancements, and the tip mission computer for accessing tip missions. On the right, the upper level features nurses for inspirations, and of course, you can also sell things to them. Note the steaming coffee cup sign. Below you will find info kiosks that disguise the Ouroboros crystal. Base buffs are available at the vending machines across from the Ouroboros crystals on the lower level, and trainers are under the first set of stairs to the train platform. When you look out of the window behind the entry portal, you can see some of the city this is set in. Garbage Wizard is very good at cityscapes, and I know some of you really want to see how in the world he does them. What does he use? Well, of course I'm going to tell you. In the second half of this video, I will show you what materials have been used in this fabulously detailed base, but first, Let me show you another Easter egg that will allow you to see exactly how things are constructed out there in the city. When facing the portal and that incredible wall behind it, go just to the right of the stairs, back to the wall, and then turn left. You will see this payphone. Look down to the right of the phone down in the corner. You will see a small, apparently discarded cell phone. Hover your mouse over this, and if you're close enough, you will see a blue hand. Click, and you've found a hidden teleporter. This will take you outside, but be sure to have some way to fly, because you will land on a girder suspended from a crane. But from here, you can fly around and see all of behind the scenes. Don't worry, I will be looking closely at all of this in a little bit. Garbage Wizard graciously agreed to let me show you all of what he did and used to put this together. I think it will give you even more appreciation for what was accomplished here, because, as I've been told, unless you know what this took, it's easy to just look at it, and you don't see anything wrong, so you don't really notice it. Sometimes the most difficult builds are the ones that people don't think twice about, especially if they don't know anything about what it takes to build something like what they see. Or pieces put together so well that you just assume it came that way. Some games make it very easy to build. Our editor does not. It's very flexible, and they have done wonders with getting it to allow us that flexibility, but it's limited in materials and not super user-friendly. So let's start back at the entry to the base. The entry portal sits on a beautiful staircase in front of a grand arched wall, well decorated in the neoclassical style, such as you'd see in great stations like New York's Grand Central Station. The stairs themselves are made from planter walls. Planter walls are useful here because they come in a variety of lengths, and considering that this is lit with the option for outdoor lighting, they are good in another way for that because they do look like concrete, but they don't get dark like some of the other concrete options you might tend to do. This is important because, of course, you can't light something to make it brighter in outdoor lighting. He's used a variety of fencing materials here as well to finish out the look he was going for. You do need to consider lighting when building. Things look different under different skies, or whether indoor or outdoor lighting. Note that he's done an excellent job here in matching materials and accents. The gray of the short wall posts goes well with the planter walls used as steps and walls on the stairs. Then, see how the post and rails match the green benches? A very nice touch. The base of the green rails is actually made of alphabet letters. It's not just the precise placement of these pieces that I admire and the complete lack of flicker, it's the effort that was made to make things match and the consideration of light sources. One thing I will say about outdoor lighting, it doesn't generally give you lighting differences. It does mute color and contrast, and you can't tint areas with colored lights or change the brightness of any area, but when you place pieces, they are all lit the same way. These pieces are placed in a base with indoor lighting. Watch the colors shift as I switch back and forth between indoor lighting and then outdoor lighting. The light sources are just hitting them a little differently. What looks like a color difference is actually a lighting difference, and you can even that out with lighting. Now, the metro is built above the base, so interior lighting is not a choice. Indoor lighting would involve lighting things by hand, and items in a computer don't follow the same rules as the real world, so it's really difficult to get hand lighting even. You get more color, but you lose the consistency. Trade-offs. Other items making up the stairs would be Tombstone 7, which is the decoration on top of the short wall posts, and garden wall posts. The name of those will be changing to garden fence posts, but as of now, garden wall posts. Cables of various sizes make up the center railings, and bank rope 3 for the decorative gold balls. You will see these colors, the gray, green, and gold, with a bit of brown or tan, repeated throughout the build. It helps make the place feel consistent and designed, not just put together. Now we're going to take a look at the back wall behind the entry. This is done using a wide variety of pieces. I'm going to show a still shot with all of the pieces in the wall labeled. Builders may be interested to know what pieces were used to achieve this look, and tourists may be interested to know just how many different sorts of pieces there are. I'm not labeling every piece. I'm labeling each one so you know what it looks like so you can recognize it when you see it again. Now the best way to build things such as this is by using the editor helpers, the surface tiles. This is a surface tile. Since the ones without collision are invisible outside of the editor, it's fine to leave them where you were working if your piece count allows. Looking closely at this arch, I think what he did was let the segments of the rounded planter determine where to position the trainer pedestals in such a way that they fit the space, because the next piece would cover up the extra. Looking at the bend and where they join, I can see I'm correct in that assessment because you can't see the whole top of each pedestal top to bottom like you can from side to side, meaning the top edge and the bottom edge are covered up by other pieces. Let me show you what placing those would look like. First, you'd set up your rounded planters so they are semicircles of the size you want. There are a couple or so ways to build this section, but the easiest that I know of is to use a surface tile and match the angle of the rounded planter section. This is going to be one of the rare instances where I recommend using surface attachment, because the easiest way to match that angle is to first turn off the grid and then use surface attachment to attach the tile on the front of the section where you want to match the angle. Then, attach a trainer pedestal a good bit lower than it needs to be, and lift that up until either it flickers or is as close as possible to the surface tile surface. Make sure you are lining up these small gold squares to where they need to be, which is a bit over the edge of the bend marking the end of each section. Another way to change the relative depth of the pedestal is to hold Control, that keeps it at the same height, and move your mouse up or down the tilted surface as needed until it's where you need it to be. Remember, the position of the object is always triangulated between the camera angle, the mouse, and whatever type of surface the object is attached to. So in this case, it's following the surface of the tile backwards or forwards. Once it's even with the rounded planter surface, get behind the tile and lift the surface tile so that the bottom edge of the trainer pedestal just disappears. Once each level is in place with the surface tile behind it, simply placing a pedestal on surface attachment and lining up the edges is all you need to do to align them when placing another pedestal. Surface tiles are the easiest way to make sure things are even and give you the quickest placement once they are set up. And to make it work out right, measuring is always good, and the surface tiles have a built-in measurement grid. It's really clear, as symmetrical as all this is, materials were carefully measured to make them fit correctly into the spaces. Let's take a look at the services rooms, which double as station conveniences. Here's a clothing store, and it's nice looking and pretty simply put together, but still staying on the well-coordinated color palette. We have the garden walls, which we saw a bit of over in the doorway, but now they get to be the main wall. Pretty standard wall decor, and of course there are icon NPCs behind the mirror. If you visit many Everlasting bases, you will see that this is almost standard in RP bases. The sales counter is just the white counters and cabinets, which all share the same patterning. A brick tile serves for the ceiling. Below, white curved desks surround stall panel walls with a supergroup floor plate to create the design in the middle. The tip computer is partially hidden in the wall, so it's just the regularly sized screen, not the huge one that stands in the middle of that piece. Basically, this looks like a data access center. On the other side, the lower level has the Ouroboros crystals, and these are hidden within a spinning globe. They look like they could be travel data kiosks. The spinning globe is part of a buried tech large supergroup table, and above that you can see a tech supergroup hologram which also spins. The light beaming up from that nearly completely hides the actual Ouroboros crystal, but nothing has collision, so they are still quite accessible. You can touch them. And of course, to the side, the Easter egg teleporter. It's fairly easy to make this entirely invisible and silent teleporter if you have the room to hide it. This is the stone portal. If I turn on hidden markers, you can see the blue touchstone just peeking through there. While I have hidden markers on, I'm going to show you the base buff machines, cleverly hidden in the vending machines over here. It says click me, so you know there's something here, since it's not obvious. Up above the spinning globes that hide the Ouroboros crystals, we're back to the coffee shop that is staffed by nurses. Consistent with the decor and design of the icon shop, we have the garden walls again, and similar other choices in decorations and flooring. If you're curious, these are the alphabet letters that make up the coffee mug sign, and this is which Steam FX was used. Medical shelves are used for the counters, with various bottles displayed on the counter and shelf in the back. Also behind the counter is an espresso machine made of a refractometer, portable equipment, microphone 1, a shower head, gas cans, all backed by the back of a theater soda machine sitting on a popcorn machine. Who knew, right? The train platforms and walkways are pretty much mega monitors laid down so that just the back shows on the top and bottom. In this lighting, the metal looks very concrete-like. The railings are more cables like on the stairs at the entry, and the filler between the plates are tinted Motiva letter eyes. The lower walls are the backs of shower floors, which again is easiest to do on a surface tile so that they're all the same. But as these are upright instead of laying down, you'll have to either place them on with surface attachment at 1/4 grid or stick with floor placement and rotate each piece also on 1/4 grid. The advantage of floor placement is you can move it without the item you were using as a surface if you need to, and the object won't change orientation because it ran across a different surface. The outer doors are edged with locker sets and alphabet letters, and the area above the walkways are more alphabet letters and glass, along with some power scaffolding. That's a lot of alphabet letters. The stairs going up are simply metal stairs. Note that they do not exactly line up on the steps if the metal bar that unites them meets seamlessly, but GW has nicely hidden that by placing the stairs that don't quite match up close together, but not allowing them to be exactly together, which would make them flicker. Above, the grand dome of the station is made of more power scaffolding, partially covered and accented with alphabet letters and window glass. I have to admire the preciseness of those angles. The train blows my mind, because the exteriors of them are nearly entirely alphabet letters again. Here you'll see the gray and green again, although a brighter green than before, which is a bit more eye-catching. These sleek trains definitely look as though they were created in a professional graphics program, but they were entirely created by combining disparate pieces to form what the builder wanted. Now, the nice thing about building with alphabet letters is they are all the same depth. So you can use both named sets, Motiva and P-City, without running into differences there, and they tint the same way. Alphabet letters don't flicker much, especially in outdoor lighting, so they blend really well, and there are various sizes and shapes, so they can be used for a variety of things, and boy, is Garbage Wizard good at figuring out just how to use them. But when fitting them in just how you need them, sometimes you'll have to rotate each one, and that can be a pain. But sometimes that depends on your placement orientation if it's a floor or surface. One thing I'm very impressed with on these accordion folds is how he slightly changed the shading on the color tinting so that the folds have more depth and definition. If they were all the same gray, they'd blend together and you'd lose that definition. And he's done it so well, I did not even realize he'd done that until I got in here and was in view edit mode. It's one of those, hey, it looks so natural, you don't even realize there was any trick to it sort of thing. And I have no artistic training, so I don't think like that automatically, but it's definitely something I've learned now. For those of you who still want to know what pieces are used here, he's got the bottoms of sets of lockers for the concrete edging, warehouse vent 5 for the darker grating, and Motiva minus signs making the caution strip. The doors are bathroom stall panels, and he's used a variety of those warehouse vents here, actually. Number 3 vent is the top of the train as the ventilation system, and number 7 makes up the tracks all the way down. Along with the Vanguard platform number 3 and industrial box walls down below for the tracks. The interior is fairly straightforward, with the cables we saw for railings now being used for grab bars inside, modern benches, which are tintable, and tech balconies for flooring. medium vents in the ceiling, small widescreen LCDs for displaying stops and advertisements, and of course, the portals. On the far side of the trains, you get the other decorative wall of the station. This is a broader arch, echoing the dome of the station, not the smaller entry hall. The only actually curved pieces on this wall are the rounded planters. The rest, the short walls, the power scaffolding, and the alphabet letters, are all straight. And then there's the piano. Predictably, almost all of this is made of alphabet letters, with just a few exceptions. The handle on the top is a mug, and the keyboard is a stall panel, and there are some metal bits for pedals and cables, and the feet are wash bottles. But otherwise, watch the item window as I click on various pieces, and you'll see what all is here. Now, is there just one way to build a piano? No. In fact, I build mine a bit differently, but basically, you just need to get the shape right and add details until it matches what you want, and there are actually a variety of pieces that can do that. Easy to say, I know, but this is when I really appreciate being able to find pictures of all kinds of things on the internet. Finishing out a closer look at this magnificent window, we see that in this direction it looks out over a water fill, so this base doesn't have to worry about edging the view with things people typically use, such as hills, rocks, or more cityscape, at least in this direction. If you move from here down to the left, in the corner is that graffiti and a boombox courtesy of an NPC who's buried in the wall, and laid out cardboard, which is of course the tops of cardboard boxes, edged with open cardboard boxes, and a ladder, which is another created item. You can see what it's made of as I click on things, but I bet you already knew, didn't you? I have to say, looking at this graffiti, 1, I wish we had more graffiti available in the editor, and 2, I wish I could do fonts like this. I mean, sure, I can lay down and angle letters, but don't feel bad if you look at this and think, I could never do that. Because honestly, few people can invent nice looking fonts, but again, there are lots of cool fonts on the internet. You can go look them up. Let's head back to the front. I personally love the clever use of the white counters here. They have an overhang just like many stairs do, with a nice black strip for definition. And that is a great place for the merit machines. Let's head out to the cityscape. I know many people want to create these. They are great for a view from a window or to disguise the edge of a base so it doesn't just stop. Here's the view from just above the station, and here's the view from your landing pad on top of the dangling girder. And then back a bit farther from that, where you can see better that this city is made just like a movie set. Only the pieces that you see need to be in place. Buildings are not complete. To build like this, you need to be aware of your sight lines from the building. I've found it's useful to use the very large either surface tiles or collision walls to indicate the line of sight from your viewpoint. So let's look at some of the materials here. We have brick walls, simply stacked up the back. No windows were needed, as windows are indistinct in the city at a distance. However, the closer buildings are mostly glass floors turned upright, and surface tiles with collision, parentheses COL, backing them. Together, these look like tinted windows. On this building, the power scaffoldings run up and down to make the window openings appear more narrow than they do on the glass floor. Angled Roman bridge foundation 3s make a great corner, along with more alphabet pieces for trim. The closer building is made of stone walls, the tops of tall walls, glass floors, again backed by surface tiles with collision. A domed rotunda is implied behind that, and that's a ceiling dome with the lighthouse top and a Giza obelisk finishing off the look. Silo bases make the streets, and substation foundations make up the sidewalks and walls. The light yellow building is created from, again, the glass floors and garden walls. This tall building nearest the station is mostly made of stone walls again, with the segmented sections being made from City Ruins Building 6. Another brick and glass to the left, and then a smaller apartment-like building, repeating the stone wall, glass floor, and City Ruins combination in a slightly different presentation. The biggest things to remember if you're building a cityscape is make sure the pieces can be seen in default Viscale. Viscale is the command to change the draw distance in a base, and if you noticed, the floor sign in Metro encourages you to set your Viscale to 5, but some don't do that. So it's a good idea to make sure that the pieces you choose can be viewed at the distance you are placing them at. That's one good reason to use silos as roads. They do not disappear at a distance. In fact, most of these materials used here do not disappear at a distance. Now, glass floors actually will, depending on how far the distance is. At least they disappear before the power scaffolding will. Alphabet lettering actually is one of the things that can be seen at a great distance, but here all the items have been placed within their viewing limits even when it's on default. So that's it for the tour. I know I did not name every piece, but I think the ones I did not name are easily identified because you could see them clearly. And I hope that this was interesting to see the what and the how behind the build. I'm hoping it helps people understand what all goes into a build like this. This build took Garbage Wizard about a year if I'm recalling correctly. Please let me know in the comments if you like the extra information, or if you just prefer I show you the base and leave the mysteries to the builders. But thanks for watching.